A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
President leaves for New York to attend the United Nations General Assembly. 29 injured in New York City explosion. State's governor says the explosion was an act of terrorism. Tense situation erupts in Pusallava as detainee dies in police custody. Traffic congestion in Mundalama as locals stage protest demanding for a road. Housing project launched in Katanweva with the intervention of the government. The program. Obstacles put in place to prevent farmers from accessing subsidized fertilizer. An Action TV expose.
President Maithripala Sirisena left the island today to attend the 71st sessions of the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
President Sirisena and his delegation left the island from the Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayaka around 10:45 this morning. The United Nations General Assembly will commence tomorrow and conclude on the 26th of this month, while President Maithripala Sirisena is scheduled to address the General Assembly on the 21st. This is the second time President Maithripala Sirisena will be addressing the UNGA since his appointment as President. This will also be Ban Ki-moon's final UN General Assembly as UN Secretary General.
President Maithripala Sirisena is due to arrive in New York at approximately around 8:45 New York time. Today, he would be accompanied by Minister of Skills Development Mahinda Samarsinghe, Minister of Foreign Affairs Mangala Samaravira, Minister of Mass Media Information Gant Karmatilaka, as well as Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faiza Mustafa. Now, what is interesting to understand is the fact that this is the hotel in which President Maithripala Sirisena will be staying during his stay. Around 130 heads of states are due to arrive in New York to attend the UN General Assembly. News First, of course, will keep you up to date on all the developments that will take place from New York. I'm Shamir Rasuldeen reporting for News First from New York, USA.
We are now joined by News First Shamir Rasuldeen, who is stationed in New York for the UN General Assembly. Good evening, Shamir.
A very good evening to you, Arundhati.
Shamir, could you brief us on the latest situation in New York?
Right now, Arundhati, there is a significant development with regard to the attack that took place at the Chelsea district between 6th and 7th Street in New York. The bomb that exploded in the city is an act of terrorism, and this was announced by the governor of the city, Andrew Cuomo. He said that international groups may be involved in the attack in question. It is quite unfortunate that 2 days from now you have the UN General Assembly taking place just around 5 to 6 kilometers away, and President Maithripala Sirisena is residing at a hotel which is just 5 kilometers away from the location in question. I was able to speak to several individuals of the NYPD as well this evening. He said that they can assure the security of all heads of states, including President Maithripala Sirisena as well. This is quite evident when you look at the international publications that are coming out as far as the explosion is concerned. The update is that the explosion in New York is an act of terrorism.
Now, as you said, Shamir, hundreds of delegates from foreign countries are currently in New York for the UN General Assembly. Now, with this recent development, the security of these delegates are certainly of concern. Now, has any US official guaranteed the safety of foreign delegates visiting New York?
Arundhati, in fact, this morning I was able to speak to a Secret Service individual as well this morning, and he said that the security of all heads of states are usually handled by the Secret Service of the United States, and NYPD will play a big role as far as their security is concerned. The street in which the UN headquarters is located will be cordoned off when the sessions are ongoing. In particular, particular when US President Barack Obama will be addressing the sessions for the final time. The event, of course, would take place on Tuesday, and President Maithripala Sirisena would be addressing the session on Wednesday at 3:45 p.m. New York time. The safety and security of all delegates have been confirmed and will be assured by the Secret Service of the United States as well as NYPD, who is in charge of the local municipality area.
Now, Shamir, you have been on the streets of New York City meeting officials and people since the news broke. Now, what can you tell us about the general mood in the city?
Arundhati, since 2001, 16 years after the 9/11 attacks, people in New York have not really seen such an attack taking place, and now this is being dubbed as an act of terrorism. It will definitely raise an eyebrow of all the people living in New York as well, because at the end of the day, the safety and security of these individuals are quite worrisome for the people of New York as well as the mayor. In fact, President Barack Obama said that this in no way is going to affect the concern of the United States towards other countries, nor is it going to affect in any way as far as the international community is concerned. However, after this announcement was made, I am pretty sure that this is going to have a very big impact as far as the security of the citizens of the United States is concerned. You have approximately around 120 plus delegates coming to New York, heads of states coming to New York in the next 2 days, and the people of New York are worried about what is happening right now in their city.
Well, thank you very much, Shamir, for joining us this evening, and hope you will have a safe stay over there.
Thank you very much, Arundhati, and hope to be safe as well.
Now, taking a look at our developing story for this evening, a tense situation broke out in the Pusalava area today over the death of a detainee while in the custody of the Pusalava police. "30-year-old Kaviraj Ravichandran was arrested last evening. The suspect was arrested based on a warrant issued by the Helbuda court. However, hours later, Kaviraj's family received news of his death.
The fact that he hanged himself is a lie, but the fact that a warrant was issued for his arrest is true, and I admit it. But just because there is an allegation against him, the police cannot beat him up."
"We believe that my son was beaten up and hanged, but what we are being told is that he hanged himself. If that was the case, they could have shown his body hanging."
When I went to the police, I saw him being beaten up. When I asked about it, they tried to assault me too. So I gave the food and returned home out of fear. They might have killed him at around 8.
Police said that the suspect had hung himself in his cell. The detainee's cell was inspected by the magistrates this morning, after which his body was examined at the Pusalava District Hospital. The magistrate ordered for the body of the suspect to be handed over to the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital for the post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, area residents staged a protest surrounding the police station this afternoon. The protest, which went on for a few hours, ended following the intervention of Minister P. Digambaram. Issuing a communique, the police headquarters said that the sub-inspector and police constable who were on duty last night had been suspended over the incident due to their lack of supervision.
We know for a fact that the police always examine CCTV footage in and around a crime scene to gather clues. However, in Sri Lanka so far, steps have not been taken to install CCTV cameras in police stations to help investigate incidents that take place within police stations. Therefore, as a public, we believe that CCTV cameras should be installed inside police stations in Sri Lanka and convert the police service as a people-friendly institution. If they do this, the police department will be able to win the the hearts of the people.
හිතශීලී ආයතනයකට පොලිසිය ඉදිරියට ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් මහජනයාගේ හිත දිනා ගන්න පොලිසියට ඒක ඉතාමත් හොඳ අවස්ථාවක් වෙයි.
Is it appropriate to fix CCTV cameras in police stations? This was a question we posed to our viewers via Facebook, and this is what they had to say on the matter. Residents of Mundalama staged a protest obstructing the Colombo-Chelau main road today, demanding for a proper road.
Vehicular movement on the road came to a complete standstill for an hour and a half due to the protests. The village of Barankattua has a history that runs back 200 years. But to date, this road has not been renovated. These innocent villagers, who are mostly small-scale dairy farmers to suffice their daily needs, are now forced to eat nothing but dust. An expectant mother would deliver her child on the road before even getting to the hospital. They have surveyed 5.5 kilometers of this road up to the Barankattua school. They only say that financial allocations have been made, but nothing has happened so far. The efforts made by the police to remove the protesters from the road were futile as the protesters continued their demonstration. SPG M. Somaratna, who is in charge of the Kalpiti area, had to interfere to disperse the protesters. SP Somaratna informed the protesters that arrangements would be made for a discussion with the relevant officials on Wednesday for a solution to be met.
Over the past several months, the Government the 100 Days program, an unprecedented public service initiative, has been successful in completing numerous projects to uplift the livelihoods of people living in some of the most remote areas in the island. The Government the 100 Days initiative continue to bring hope to hundreds of communities who have been neglected for decades.
The Government the 100 Day initiative, with the people, for the people.
In the past week alone, 4 projects commenced under the Government the 100 Days initiative have been completed, while work has begun on 3 more projects. Clean drinking water for 850 families in Kahakurullam, Palassa, Thanamalwila and surrounding villages. Clean drinking water for the Hambegamua Secondary School and Rural Hospital. Clean drinking water for the people of Periyaparanthan, who were forced to drink brackish water for several years. Access road constructed for the people of Kinakatia in Karandenia at Kandura in Gaul. A clean drinking water project in Hambegamua, Thanamalwila. A clean drinking water project for the people of Akmalgedera in Tibbatuawa, Akurassa. An elephant fence to protect the residents of the 9th mile post village in Suryapura. A project to provide sanitary facilities for the people of Palathadi Chennai in Trincomalee. Several major projects are slated to commence in the coming days under the Government the 100 Days initiative, further expanding the reach of the program and touching the lives of hundreds of thousands of Sri Lankans.
The Government the 100 Day initiative, with the people, for the people.
A housing project was launched for the people of Katanwewa today with the intervention of the Government the program.
Housing and Construction Minister Sajith Premadasa laid the foundation stone today for a project to build 42 homes in the Katanwewa area in Hambantota.
I remember how the Sirasa Government the program came to Katanwewa and brought ministers and MPs like myself to a public forum where the people were able to directly submit the issues they faced to the ministers and MPs. You may remember that many of you in Katanweber submitted issues surrounding housing. Today I bring to you the good news that following the message we received from the Silasa Gammadda program, not only are we creating a Saranagama Udagammane here, but if the Gammadda program is implemented throughout this region, we will be able to solve the housing issues of all the people in the area.
The following is the News1st special report on the plight of the indigenous community of Ratugala, who have been compelled to return to the jungle due to the neglect they face at the hands of authorities.
The Adivasis, or indigenous community of Ratugala, left the jungle to live in villages, seeking safety and a secure livelihood. The most pressing issue faced by the people living in the villages of Ratugala bordering Bibile in the Monragala district is housing. While the previous regime did provide housing for the community, at present these houses resemble toy houses.
They partially built 20 homes and said they would build another 10. Nothing has been built yet. During elections, they come here and canvass for votes, promising to build various things. But after we vote, we face an eternity of suffering.
The roof of the house begins fluttering even in the slightest breeze. 4 or 5 tiles have already fallen off.
The indigenous people who have become disillusioned when it comes to dealing with authorities are on the brink of taking a serious decision.
We are deeply saddened. When we were in the jungle, several generations were sustained living off the leaves, yams, honey and meat. But we were disenfranchised and we lost the right to consume our meat even once a year. If they continue to neglect us in this way, then we prefer to return with our children to the caves which sheltered our grandfathers and grandmothers and live out our days there.
As they contemplate the possibility of having to return to the jungle, there is a common thought that has arisen among the community.
A fire broke out in a polythene manufacturing factory in Wattala this morning, leaving the area covered with fumes of smoke.
This factory is located in the residential area of Sivalimavata in Dalapitiya. Following the fire, residents in the area attempted to reach out to the Gampa Fire Brigade.
They took around 1.5 hours to get there. They first asked who was paying. First a bouncer arrived here. After we said that we would pay, then another bouncer arrived. If they had just arrived when we had called them, none of this would have happened. We called 119 at around 3:15 or 3:30 and informed them. They asked us who was paying the money. They only arrived after an hour or so.
Area residents highlighted the fact that prioritizing money over duty could have resulted in the loss of lives.
A legal system must be implemented for this. It is pointless to do so after people have been harmed. We thank Silasa for coming here and informing the whole of Sri Lanka of this. It is good that it caught fire. At least now, the factory is looking into the law.
The fire was eventually doused at about 9 o'clock this morning after 6 fire engines from the Colombo Fire Brigade arrived at the scene.
In truth, when we leave the Colombo area, there are various administrative difficulties. However, as the Colombo Municipal Council, we decided our responsibility lies beyond the call of duty and came here.
How is it possible for polythene or plastic factories to be located in densely populated areas? Permission has not been sought from the Divisional Secretariat. Inquiries must be made from the Environment Authority and the local government bodies.
Neither the Divisional Secretary nor any other authority were informed of this. Approval has not been obtained. We only discovered that such a factory exists following this incident. There are basic necessities and provisions that have to be met to maintain a fire brigade. In truth, what I witnessed was that in this case they did not have any of these provisions. It was actually in the negative.
You're with News First, and up next is our investigative journalism segment, Action TV.
On the 29th of August, a group of people directly and indirectly connected to the government gathered a group of farmers from the Ampara district, the country's largest rice-producing region, and encouraged them to undertake organic farming with much pomp and pageantry. However, organic farming has not yielded the promised results for these farmers. On Thursday, about 50 farmers from the Ampara district who undertook organic farming aired their complaints at the harvest meeting of the left bank of the Galloya scheme.
සම්පූර්ණ කාබනික ඒක නිර්දේශ කරන සහතික කරන කුෂි කරන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව ඒකට මට ගෝඩි 3ක් දෙන්න. ඈ? විකුණන ගානකට මට ගෝඩි 3ක් දෙන්න. සර් ගෝඩි 3ක් ගන්නවා නම් මම විකුණන ගාන ලක්ෂ 3මාරක් විතර එනවා. මම ගෝඩි 3 දෙනවා සර්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ මට මේ වීතික ලක්ෂ 3මාරම සර් දෙන්න ගෝඩි 3 ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒක ගෝඩිය කීයද? ඒතර ලක්ෂ 1.25ක් විතර වගේ එනවා.
Parallel to the organic propaganda program, a secretive initiative has also been undertaken to restrict the amount of chemical fertilizer given to the farmers. Even the highest-ranking administrative official in the Ampara district bears testament to the suffering the farmers underwent as a result in the concluded harvest season.
Clearly, the farmers, the assistant director for fertilizer and I were put in a difficult position last season. There are several farmers who are still facing these hardships.
At Thursday's harvest meeting, farmers highlighted the fact that they may face a far more severe fertilizer shortage this time around.
How can I respond to that? The blame does not lie with you. After all, you are doing what they have instructed you to do. When a national level program is being undertaken, the ministry must take decisions. It is pointless for us to beat each other up here over mistakes made by the ministry.
Farmers had to undergo numerous difficulties as a result of the circular implemented in the previous season under the government subsidized fertilizer scheme. Many farmers may be forced to abandon cultivation this season as a result of the authorities' decision to make the national identification card compulsory instead of amending the circular to make the process more convenient for farmers. This is because many farmers use the senior citizens identification card and other forms of accepted identification to obtain subsidized fertilizer. Furthermore, at Thursday's harvest meeting, it was made evident that the statement made by the subject minister in Ampara on the 26th of August, where it was promised that 2,000 kilograms of paddy would be purchased via the Paddy Marketing Board from farmers who cultivated using subsidized fertilizer, was false.
නෑ ඔයාලා යෝජනා කරන්නකෝ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගොවි මහත්තුරු යෝජනා කරන්නකෝ
මේ අපේ සාම වියලි මණ්ඩල ඉලක්කය 110යි අම්බා දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ගොවියෝ 65000ක් වුණා වගා කරනවා අපිට එහෙම කළොත් ගොවියන්ගෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන් 560යි කිලෝ සෑම ගොවියෙක්ම වී ගන්නවා අපිට මේ රජයේ කියන සෑම ගොවියෝ කිලෝ 2000ක් ගන්නවා කියන මේ කතාව බොරුවක් ඒක බොරුවක් ඇයි මේ බොරුවක් කරන්නේ අක්කේ බොරුවක් කරන්නේ කියලා
Are steps being taken to directly and indirectly curtail local farmers' production in order to bring about an era where the traditional New Rice Festival is celebrated using imported rice? Secretary to the Prime Minister, over to you.
The latest in a series of forest fires has been reported from the area surrounding the Tuhulwala Reserve.
The Victoria Forest Reserve and villages located between Massala and Vikilagas Kadawala are the worst affected by the fires. Villagers suspect that the forest fires are an act of arson. Some don't think that by setting fire they are damaging the environment. Wild animals die, water sources dry up. Some people are not aware of this. People don't have the foresight. If they are educated, then we can stop the damage done to these forests. We plant teak for wood. Over 200 to 300 saplings have been destroyed due to these fires. This is a massive fire. No one knows where it started or where it will end. An entire area was reduced to ashes. No one knows who is responsible. With a lot of difficulty, I managed to douse the fire in this section, but the fire continued over on that side. Wild animals were incinerated. We are thankful to Sirasa for revealing this to the world. Environmentalists point out that the destruction of catchment areas surrounding forest reserves will pave the way for massive water shortages in the near future. At present, several fires have been reported from the central hills. The cause of these fires are sometimes associated with the dry weather, but sometimes these are acts of arson. Sri Lanka's flora and fauna is being destroyed on a massive scale due to these fires. The Forest Conservation Department must formulate a program that involves the public while educating them. If they do that, these ecosystems and water sources could be protected.
Speaking in Mulleriya today, parliamentarian S.N. Marika expressed his views on the joint opposition.
The MP was speaking at a medical clinic held in Sihodagama Mulleriya, where spectacles were also distributed. Those who are in the joint opposition are persons who are uncertain as to who they are today and who they will be tomorrow. Those who committed thievery know very well what they stole, the nature of the theft, the gravity of the theft, and the status of the investigation on the theft, because they are the ones who know if they will be arrested next or not. The joint gang is like an iceberg. It melts from the top, the bottom, and even from the sides. So the longer it floats, the faster it melts.
The rehearsals of the Pops concert organised by the Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today.
The concert will be based on selected suites of musics from the movies, Broadway musicals and popular favourites. Soundari David Rodrigo will be the piano soloist and the concert will be conducted by Dushyanti Pereira. The Soul Sounds Choir will also perform at the concert. The Pops concert will be held on the 24th and the 25th of September at 7 p.m. at the Bishop's College Hall in Colombo 3. TV1 and Yes FM will be the electronic media sponsors of the event.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.